Hey there, you mean DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am Mantis, and today we're going to get into Flash 28 DCKO Thailand. That is the Flash versus the Green Lantern. Let's check it out. The first page of this issue is a quick catch up of the events, the past few issues leading including Impulse's decision to try and defeat Darkseid in the past. Wally had chased after him, and both barely had escaped with their lives to even further in the past. That's where they then ran into the Legion of Darkseid, including a brainwashed Max Mercury. The Legion, along with Wally and Bart, have traveled to the future's past, but it's all confusing. Yeah, where the Legion has already done something because Bart now has no powers. You see why I dislike time travel plots, other than Back to the Future, that is? In any event, Wally and Bart arrive out of the Speed Force at a very specific time in Central City, or close to it. The night Bart's grandfather, Barry Allen, became the Flash. Wally carries Bart and sits him on a bench, still disoriented from the time travel. Without his powers, Bart, even protected by Wally's aura, needs a safe place to recover, and it can't be the bench. And Wally only has 15 minutes before the Legion does whatever they're going to do. See, Wally is a bit of a history buff when it comes to this exact event and what happened to Barry. However, something else still doesn't make sense. Why does Wally still have his powers and Bart doesn't? Barry, Wally, and Bart's destiny, as well as powers, are all kind of intertwined with each other's and this event. The only other Flash that isn't is Jay Garrick, and he's about to kick off his match with Guy Gardner. Speaking of that match, both Jay and Guy are teleported to a version of Jay's old college lab where he gained his powers. This is the battle arena for the first of 3 rounds. The Heart explains, just as in the previous matches to this point, it's the best 2 out of 3 wins, and the fighters will choose forms in the later rounds. Guy asks Jay, as an old timer, how he's feeling about all this, and Jay says, he's exhausted. But Jay doesn't have quite a lot of experience on Guy as far as life, fighting, and loss. How much of that is going to actually come into play, though? Jay is going to try the old wise man approach first, it seems, as he asks Guy to stop, just as he's about to attack. Since the Heart said a quote, the game, he thinks he can outwit it. Jay wants to be smart about this. He walks over to one of the lockers there in the lab and grabs a checkers board. See, it was a game he and the other research students would play when they needed a break or they were stuck on some formula or something. Guy can't even believe what he's seeing. But Guy's a little goofy himself, so he doesn't push back too much. His only concern is if the Heart is going to allow it or not. So they start to play, but it becomes quickly evident that Guy has never even played checkers before. Jay does his sea biscuit move and pisses Guy off, who then throws the stupid old man game board across the room. Jay asks for some respect, but Guy thinks Jay doesn't understand the stakes or that it's a hard universe and Jay should finally retire. Jay didn't like that last comment as he takes off his metal cap and flings it like a frisbee at Guy, hitting him right in the face. He actually broke his nose, and Jay then starts running circles around Guy at super speed. A little pissed off about the broken nose and smartass remarks, Guy uses his ring to construct a ring of energy. And it kind of looks like a saw blade, but it's really kind of hard to tell. Either way, he expands it or moves it into his running little circle there and slices Jay to pieces and hits a KO on him. With round one going to Guy, Jay realizes he's going to have to step it up in round two. With the next 2 rounds, combatants will choose their forms. Guy has chosen when he was in the Red Lantern Corps, as you can see, he's in Red Lantern attire there. A time during Blackest Night, and became a Red Lantern out of pure rage after witnessing the death of Kyle Rayner, which, considering to win this particular tournament, a rage based form would tend to possibly do a little bit better. But where is Jay? Because Guy can't seem to find him. Jay is, of course, all around Guy because he has chosen his Speed Force form. While in this form, Jay can sense the Speed Force in pain, as well as Wally's troubles somewhere in the past. But he can't worry about that now. Jay starts attacking Guy, seemingly from nowhere, strike after strike, and Guy gets a little fed up and tries to construct an energy shield. But as Jay points out, Red Rage isn't a great defense. Of course, then after that, he easily breaks it, and that's when Jay targets Guy's lantern ring to overload it. The ring erupts in a massive explosion as Guy disintegrates into tiny atoms and scores a KO for Jay. As the heart tells them both to prepare for the final battle, Jay can sense the good still in Guy, along with a growing dark strength from the heart blooming in himself. Back at the Watchtower, Grodd has attacked Booster in an attempt to stop him from using the Omega Rift energy, which he was going to kind of get rid of the Quantum Quorum to accelerate the transformation of Earth into Apocalypse. It seems, though, that Grodd isn't fully aware that Booster is possessed by Darkseid or something just by the way he's talking. Pretty evident with the Omega symbols in his eyes, by the way. I mean, anyone could see that. In any event, Darkseid proclaims everything will fall, including Booster Gold. But Grodd doesn't believe that Booster is totally gone yet, and intends to pierce his mind to try and find what's left of him. That's when he uses his telepathic powers on Booster's body to try and find Booster. But instead, all he sees is darkness. Actually, Darkseid's future, and what he wants to see come to pass, including the deaths of the Justice League members, Earth turning to Apocalypse, and Grodd and everyone in Gorilla City destroyed. With 2 rounds complete, it's come to the final round between the Flash and Green Lantern. For this round, the battle will take place on Voldar. You see, Guy is a descendant of Voldarian race. And a little kind of a history thing here, real quick. Back in the 90s, Guy went on an expedition to the Amazon. There, he drank from a chalice of quote unquote warrior water, which activated that dormant alien DNA in his bloodline. The Voldarian DNA was, of course, eventually suppressed by his human DNA during the events of Rebirth, and that's when he returned to his classic Green Lantern state. But for this last round, Guy is in his Voldarian warrior form. Jay starts approaching from afar in his classic old school form, carrying his bolt sword, and is talking some shit, which is funny enough because it's something Guy is usually the one doing. But as far as the choice of form for Jay, I think it's a very poor choice. The round kicks off as Jay speeds at Guy, trying to slice him with the bolt sword. But Guy's Voldarian form allows him to morph his limbs into various deadly weapons, and blocks it with his arm, transforming into a mace. Guy then changes it to a power cannon, shooting at Jay, who quickly dodges, countering by throwing his bolt at Guy. But Guy intercepts it and catches it. Standing there, you can see his entire lineage of Voldarian ancestors, which he is fueled by, including their strategic experience and spirit power. So when Guy launches the bolt sword directly back at Jay, hitting him right in the arm, and tells him to respect his elders this time. Guy then aims his cannon at Jay. Jay asks Guy for one last favor, and that's to beat the tar out of Darkseid for him. Guy answers, "You got it, pal." So when Guy takes aim through the crosshairs of his cannon and fires a missile speeding at Jay, who explodes in a KO of victory for the Green Lantern. Back at Central City, as we full circle here, back around from the beginning of this issue, Iris is talking to someone on her phone about her recent engagement, hopefully to Barry, but then gets a knock at her door and another knock. Little upset about it, she rushes over there and opens the door to a bit of shock. It's Wally carrying Bart. I guess they changed out of their uniforms to kind of not really freak her out, but of course it's shocking enough carrying Bart and Wally there. But Wally even misspoke, calling her aunt. And hopefully that didn't mess up the timeline any more than it already is. But Wally asks Iris to watch over Bart and puts him on the couch. she's a bit flustered, but she does ask him, like, who the hell are you? But he says he'll be back, and she's going to have to trust him because Barry Allen is in grave danger and he's got to help him. All right, guys, thanks for staying through this video and watching and checking out our channel. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you'll know when all these new issues and new videos that we're coming out for all of the issues that we're doing. Again, reminder, we're doing all the KO event issues all the times, including ones like this, and the Absolute Universe, which this week, the Martian Manhunter is back in action, and I can't wait to find out what actually happens in that issue. But again, guys, thanks again. Comment below what you guys think of the event so far. If it's good, if it's met up to expectations. I think this was round 6 at this point. Yeah, this is round 6. So we're getting knee deep in the KO event with some really good matchups coming. So stay tuned for those. And again, thanks for everyone watching. And until next time, later.